Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to That's a Take. After yet another extended break, here we are back with another episode. Well, it turns out that it can be quite difficult balancing a new production company, freelance work, staying healthy, and doing this podcast. So I do appreciate your understanding and you coming back to listen despite the inconsistencies. These are things that we are always trying to pay attention to and work on for the next season. Like any creative venture, that balance is something that I chase pretty much every day. Not a short-term game, but really a lifelong pursuit. How do you be better? How do you be more consistent? But while also taking care of yourself and resting and being able to recharge for the next project. That's something that's on my mind a lot. And the idea of balance is on my mind a lot. And I believe the balance in the film industry is shifting. I think it's shifting towards more care, more communication, and more cast and crew focused planning. I just think that people are realizing that this is a really difficult job, both mentally, physically, spiritually. We got to take care of the people that do it, and we got to have fun doing it and be safe, probably in reverse order. But this is all very relevant to our guest today. Today we are talking about intimacy coordinators, and after having two films utilize this fairly new role, I wanted to learn more about the process, the job, and how having intimacy coordinators is making sets safer for both cast and crew. And I can attest that it does, in fact, help. I felt more comfortable with someone leading these scenes aside from the director and actors. The guidance the intimacy coordinators provided translated to a smoother process and better scenes. So, joining us for Take 15 is Stephanie Schneider, a Des Moines-based actor and intimacy coordinator. Stephanie Schneider is an intimacy director, coordinator, and performer based in the Midwest. Her intimacy coordination credits include the following films: Salvages, 5683, The Painter, and Winters, Nebraska. After having the chance to work with Stephanie in this role on Winters, Nebraska, I knew it would be an opportunity to learn more about what she does and the role of the intimacy coordinator. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Stephanie Schneider. And this is probably a good segue to get into what we're talking about. Acting does need guidance, and it does need coaching, and it does need direction, because it's like hard to self-police when it comes to acting, and to be not biased or like outside. It's almost impossible to be outside of yourself. So it's hard to like watch your performance, even if you tape it, and be like critical of yourself. It's almost better to have someone else do it for you. Do you find that's true at all?
No, not at all.
Oh,
actually.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, well, it's the whole point of this group is to immediately when we watch our tapes or do our chemistry read, they always ask for a PSA, positive self-assessment. So immediately we're associating like the good things that happen first. And it used to be like I used to be very critical. Now I can separate myself for it more. I've done it so much. And then also I'm like, okay, what read? I could use the frame a little bit differently this time. Or like I had no idea where the turn in that scene was. Like there are just so many script analysis elements that I think actors who aren't in class or aren't constantly working aren't really thinking about. And I do think that being an actor with script analysis has helped me immensely as an intimacy coordinator and director.
Yeah, and obviously, like you're an actor, but how did you get interested in the intimacy coordinator director side of things?
Yeah, so in 2019, I was doing a lot of theater. I haven't done as much recently, but there was an intimacy director that came in from Chicago. Someone knew her, and they were doing just like a general workshop, like intro to boundaries for actors. So I was like, yes, that sounds great. I've had some not so great intimate experiences on stage. And I had this worry, like as I get into film, that I would be pressured to do more than I was comfortable with. And so, yeah, that kind of changed a lot for me. That opened up like a whole part of my brain I didn't know existed, and just had this kind of power I felt, mainly in the fact that like I decide what I do and I can have boundaries and I don't need to explain them. And no is still an okay answer. I think that's kind of the thing we get hung up on as actors, is like the yes and the worry that someone's not going to hire you if you don't say yes, or not asking for what you need. And so the advocacy is kind of like beat out of actors. And then, which I think also, just feeds this like self-confidence, or like this thing of like, did I do it right? Like, I'm terrible. Like, I have to do this take again, rather than being able to be like, okay, was that a tech issue? I'm going to do it something different this time. If I'm not getting notes, like, then we're good. I'm just going to keep doing it. Maybe add a little something different. Like, as opposed to it being like, well, I messed that entire take up and they probably hate me. And so then there's that just natural pressure of like having to perform, and like everybody's all set up and ready to go. And then you've got to go and just do your thing and hopefully do it in a good amount of time so everyone can move on to the next thing. So there's a lot of time pressure, especially in film. Yeah, because when we talk about consent, the organization I'm with, IDC, we talk about the acronym CRISP. So C is for considered. You have to have time to consider. You can't be under the influence, bribed, pressured. R, consent's reversible at any point. I, informed, so having as much information as you can, knowing what's being asked of you. S is for specific, so it can be for a specific scene, person, place on your body. And then P is participatory, so feeling like you're a collaborator, feeling like you can say what you want to say, and not just being told what to do constantly. So those, like, if one of those 5 things are not there, then that's not consensual discussion.
What does IDC stand for?
Intimacy directors and coordinators.
Okay, so that's the organization that you've kind of gained knowledge and expertise through. I guess I'll skip ahead on one of my questions. Is there like an accreditation that comes with this, or did you go through a seminar or classes? How does that sort of work to quote unquote become an intimacy director and coordinator? Because a lot of film jobs, it's like you just learn over time. Is that the same, or is it a little different?
This is a little bit different because there's a safety element to it. But when I first had that workshop, that like inspired me as an actor to learn more about it. So like right before 2020, I took like an in-person 3-day intensive of just like digging into the principles. What does it look like? Let's try to like direct a small scene, or like how do we move? How do we create things? And just basic like communication and language. And I was like, I love this so much as an actor and just as a human. It was amazing. But then, it was 2020 and the world shut down like a month later. But the good thing about it is that everything went online. So I took a lot of like online classes from IDC, and then Thai theatrical intimacy education. Those are the 2 main ones I've taken a lot of stuff from. Also, tons of reading. But I wasn't initially thinking I would do this work. I was thinking this helps me advocate for myself, and I kind of started wanting it for other people. And people and actors were excited about it. So the Playhouse brought me in late 2020. They were doing a 2-person play. And in 2020, people started to have boundaries. Physical boundaries, 6 feet, wearing masks, not wearing masks. All these things suddenly like interrupted our lives that we had to navigate. So it was very interesting because I feel like as a culture, we kind of started to understand some of that. But also there was a lot of reasons for those things, and boundaries don't always need reasons. So yeah, I started intimacy directing for theater, just kind of picked it up. I was like, I'm not certified. Like, I've taken a lot of classes. I have a lot of knowledge. Like, I'll do what I can. So I just kind of started doing that. And I knew theater much more than film. So in 2022, beginning of 2022, I was like, I definitely want to get certified in intimacy coordination for film and television. So mainly because it was lesser known to me, that world. And I was like, I want to be able to do both. And I also want, as an actor, to end up in the film industry. The way IDC has changed a lot of the ways they do it, but they kind of do it in levels. Level 1 is like just a basic understanding. Anybody, like this for anybody in the production to take and just kind of become aware of. Level 2 is more like digging into some choreography and like kind of more complicated things that go along with that. And then you have to apply to level 3, which is basically a intensive. So when I did it, I had to provide a portfolio of my work, explain why I wanted to do it, show all the things that I've been studying, and I was accepted into the program, which was amazing. So fall of 2022, we had 13 weeks of online and then 3 full in-person weekends in New York City.
Wow.
So we would learn a lot of the principles, and then when we were in the room, it was very much like choreography heavy, doing things physically, figuring out how things work, and just being in a room with other people. And I needed that so bad.
Yeah.
Because I felt so alone out here. Like there was nobody else that I knew was doing this work. And I just was like, I'm doing the best I can out here, but like I can't get specific answers. I don't know who to contact. Like, and just having a group of people, like I like cried the first time I was in the room. I was like, all these people want the same thing I want and are doing the same thing I'm doing and are experiencing the same pushback and the same things. And it was just so, so lovely. And that cohort is still today. We still talk and we still have a group chat that we bounce questions off of, or have you heard this? Or did you read this article? So it's been so great. And then from there, you're technically like certification pending. So they want you to get 10 days on set experience before they fully give you that. So I actually just got that last year. I submitted my portfolio in December, and then a couple weeks ago got the confirmation of like fully, completely good. And that was so much work.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey. I mean, it's been 5 years. So, and just the roots have changed, and been through a lot of change, I think, in the last 5 years. So it's just such a great feeling to be like, I did it. I got over 10 days on set, and it's like, and I feel really confident in my work, and know that I have a mentor and other groups to lean on when I inevitably will get stuck doing something.
Yeah. I mean, you said a lot of things that sort of reflect why I wanted to have this conversation. One is the safety aspect. Coming from the camera department, like we always say our rules are be safe and have fun, and they're in an order for a reason. So safety is like something that we think about, that we think is paramount to the process. And there's different kinds of safety, physical safety, emotional safety, all these things. And then this idea of empowerment. And I think, there's not enough empowerment in film. Sometimes it's like almost taking people's power away sometimes. And so the rise of the intimacy director and coordinator is something that I feel like just empowers people across the board. It empowers the crew to feel, I think, safer and more comfortable with what's happening, but more importantly provides the actors with the same thing and a voice, because I have worked in this industry long enough to have seen instances where I feel like actors don't have a voice and they're not empowered. So that's like, to me, why I wanted to have this, and like also working with intimacy coordinators. And to be honest, like we talked about before, not having enough time to like really understand the process and like how you work. So like at its core, what is an intimacy coordinator and director?
Yeah. We're a liaison between actors and production and creative team. We are an advocate for actors and crew. And then we provide choreography for scenes of simulated sex, nudity, hyperexposure, or basically anything that's intimate. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, that the part that I didn't realize until I worked with one was the choreography part, which we'll get into, which I'm, honestly, like, seems to be like kind of exciting work sometimes and kind of fun and once again empowering. I remember like the one I worked with in Wyoming, she was just so positive about like the human body and how like it's fine to be comfortable and to like feel good.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, I didn't expect that. And she was like hyping them up, hyping the actors up and being like, it's good. Like we can do this and we can explore. And I have the unique position of usually being one of the people that actually gets to be in the room for those scenes. And I want to talk about that too, sort of like the protocol of how it happens, because I think that is important for people to know if they can ahead of time. So then they know like how to approach it and how to act. Because for my crew, like, you know, being a leader and a department head, I'd say, hey, these are intimate scenes. We need to be, I remind them, you know, like we need to be respectful. And when we are working with a coordinator, they're in charge and you do what they say, you know.
And that's not always the case. So I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
On the last thing we worked on.
Yeah. And it's, well, I think, to be honest, I had a great experience with the first one I worked with, and she commanded that attention. She told the director, like, when I'm on set, I'm in charge.
The power.
Yeah. And it worked, and it was important because it was more of a green director, and
that helps.
yeah, he wasn't, you know, they weren't the most well-seasoned director, and to have her there to like lead that, I think he appreciated it. I appreciated it. And I think the crew appreciated it because, you know, we've all been through stuff that there was no coordinator, and, you know, it's not, obviously the pressure's mostly on the actors, but the crew feels certain ways about some of this stuff too. And sometimes, to be honest, it makes us uncomfortable in some ways.
100%.
You know?
100%. That's why, like, I remind people is that I'm here for everybody. I'm here for actors, of course, because they're maybe doing the thing, but my goal is to also make sure everyone's on the same page. And a lot of it is just communicating.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. These are the people in the room. This is what you might see. So if, you know, a crew memo goes out and the crew member's like, I don't want to be in the room for this.
Yeah.
It's like, great, we can just swap somebody out. Or if we can fix lighting in a way that you don't have to be in the room, great. And then you can leave or something like that.
Yeah. And I think it's just another like collaborative effort of the film process. Right. But I think for me, it really has, and the experiences I've had made me feel more comfortable and like be able to focus on my craft as opposed to like have to worry about how my crew is going to act and respond. And having someone there to provide those guidelines is always like very helpful. It's interesting because like this is also a job that kind of came out of nowhere in the last 10 years in a way.
Mainly the Me Too movement,
yeah,
like kind of was a jumping off point, which inspired a lot of fight choreographers to be like, we have this for fight. Why don't we not have this for intimate scenes? And so, you know, began the construction of what this has been, and it has shifted into a different thing than it was, you know, even 5 years ago. Techniques and things like it can constantly evolving. But I think one thing people also don't like think about is that it's a cultural movement. Like we are trying to change the way people operate as individuals, but also as a town, as a city, as a culture of like feeling this empowerment to speak up, to put that boundary in place, to be able to discuss things in a way that is productive. And I think the biggest thing for me that I continue to see a lot is like people having to have a reason, people having to explain like, well, I would do this, but this and this. And I'm like, I don't need to know. That's cool. That's great. That's off the table. You know, and I think there's a big difference between comfort and confidence. So a lot of what we do is not comfortable.
Yeah.
We're, you know, but if we're confident and we have the knowledge, we know what's happening, we're consenting to what's going on, then at least like we know we can move forward. Comfort is like, it can be there if it's there, but it's not the goal. The goal is for you to feel safe, to know what's happening, and to consent to what's going on.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, there's already so much vulnerability involved in acting, and then you throw in, even if it's just a simple kissing scene or a physical contact scene that's not simulation or, you know, of overtly sexual nature, you're still under the lights, the camera's pointed at you, and there's still like everything about that is taking your comfort away. And if you're not comfortable, you're probably not going to feel confident either. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of these things that, to be honest, like I think there's been pushback from it in some scenarios.
There definitely have, yeah.
And it's kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to be like, I think I try to present like an unbiased voice as much as I can, but like working in the industry and being one of the people in the room, I'm like, this is needed. Like, it's like, you're a human being. You've experienced, most people have experienced experiences like that. And even when you're doing things like that in real life, it's awkward and it can be tense. And that's part of the fun and part of like your body's creating these chemicals. But like when it's simulated and it's like in this make-believe world, I think there's a different level of guidance and care that needs to be taken, that it's kind of almost shocking that this is now just catching on in a way. But then again, not, because you look at the film industry, we don't need to go down that.
We're fighting years and years of the same ideas and the same like way of doing things and of being. And so with the shift, like, we are learning more, and the generation below us and below them are starting to, they're already talking about boundaries, having more voice, more vocal about those things. And I'm seeing that, which is really cool. But it kind of depends on who's in charge. Yeah, like the people at 100%. The top, and I've always said that a director sets the tone for the whole thing, even if there's no intimacy. Like, if they're not having a good time, everybody else is probably not having a good time. But if they're coming in and they have, collaborative mindset and just like are generally positive and can troubleshoot things, like, then you feel like, oh, I can come to this person and talk to them about that. But I think one thing that really turns people away, and that I've read, is directors feel like we're going to come in and be the touch police and then also take over their whole set, which is nice if they want that, but that's not why we're there. And then for actors, a lot of people are like, it's going to get in the way of my creative process, or like, I don't need a lot of support. It's like, that's great. Can I check in with you like between setups? Is that cool? And even if they're like, no, I'm good, I'm like, great. I'm still going to check in on your partner. Like, I'm still here for crew and everybody else. But there's definitely like space for that. We talk about a container. So what is the most we'll do in this scene? Or what do we feel confident improving or adjusting as we go? And if two actors are super experienced and they're like, we've thought about this, here are our ideas, we rehearse it, and they're good to go, they're good to go. I'll still check in, give them mints, because everybody needs mint. I'm
so glad to hear you say that. I have like Listerine mouth spray in my pocket all the time for film, because I'm like, I also drink coffee. So I never want to go up and like be like, hey, actor. So that's also something I love about. It's like, yes, breath is important. Yes. Good breath.
I have an accoutrements, if you will,
you can choose.
Variety. Fruit. Oh, actually, I just was working with a high schooler who said they were allergic to mint. And I was like, what do I do?
Cinnamon.
That's someone allergic to that. Cinnamon. Yeah, cinnamon. Yeah. I can't remember what else they discussed, but they can do like fruity things that don't have mint in them that are still freshening. And so that was just something I thought about. I was like, oh, I don't have everything. Well, I'm missing that piece.
Still learning. That's the good thing, though.
Oh, 100%.
And it's really impressive. I've been impressed just by the thought that's put into the intimacy coordination director position. And one thing you said that actually happened to me was checking in with the crew. So the scene that you and I worked on together, that was a reshoot. And we had a previous intimacy director coordinator work on the first time. And she could tell that I wasn't having the best time, because the nature of that scene was much different the first time.
Right.
And we won't get into specifics, but it affected me.
Yeah.
And she could tell. And after it was over, she was like, hey, are you okay? Do you need to talk? And I was like, yeah, can I just tell you what's on my mind? And she just sat there and listened to me for a couple minutes. She gave me a hug and she was like, shake it off. And it was really helpful to like have someone, because it's not about me. And it's like, that was the weird instances. Like, I don't want it to be about me. Like, but it really did affect me, because I was just like, I don't know. I don't want to go into why it affected me. That's not important. But the fact that she checked in with me, I really appreciated. And it was something that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was more acting focused, and to hear you once again reinforce that it's not. It's about the whole everyone. Like, you are there for anybody that feels any sort of level of uncomfortability or needs to talk about what's going on.
Yeah. We're a wealth of knowledge, but also we are trained to read body language, to notice, how if they're, closed off posture or even like the way they're interacting. And that's why sometimes I'll just be like, hey, just checking in. You good? Anything changed? And like one time it did change and they were like, I don't want that to happen again. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to remind the other actor that that's off the table.
Yeah.
Sucks that that happened, but sometimes we make mistakes. People make mistakes.
Yeah.
So, if there's the opportunity to change that, great.
Yeah.
If they continue it, then it's a problem. But
Yeah.
mainly we are there to make everybody's job much easier. And I don't think people think about that. Like, just like a fight choreographer comes in, can choreograph the whole thing, and then you can just be like, I want these people to do this thing. Great. Specifics, safe, good, go.
Yeah.
I usually come to set thinking about multiple options for positions, and even some different ideas. Like we just have so many levels of intimacy, and sometimes two actors are, like I said, really experienced, but what's coming across the camera is not
Working.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it feels really natural to them, but we are not seeing the story element happen. And so, I mean, we do that all the time as actors where we're like, that was so real. And you're like, well, your face was turned away from camera, or your eye line was so off, we didn't get like the connection with you. So just having someone to be there to be like, yeah, or I'm watching the monitor and I'm like, does that look right to you? Like, how do you feel about that? And they're like, it kind of looks weird. And I'm like, yeah, it feels like the anatomy doesn't match what's happening, or like the angle doesn't look like it's real. Because that's another thing, is we want to make it look as real as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the problem solving aspect, and I like it when directors are like, I really want this. And then it's really fun when I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, yes, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, let's add that in.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed when I've had the opportunity to work with, an actor agency director and coordinator, because it's just made everything better and smoother. And it's like, I think there's this thing in the film industry where people don't want to bring new positions into the fold because they think that it's going to slow the process down. And yes, it will cost more money. That is a truth. Like,
It is true.
People do need to be paid. But that, I think, the investment in giving your crew and cast, more importantly, the cast, the peace of mind to know that they're going to be taken care of. I think that's the direction I want filmmaking to go for everything. That's why I love the words like safety and empowerment. It's like, and another reason why this is like almost a bigger issue that's attached to intimacy coordination, which is like, let's take better care of people on set, because this job for too long has been an industry where people are put through the ringer physically, emotionally, spiritually. And that, I think the generations that are making films now, like the newer generations, just don't want any part of that. And I think that's the turning tide where filmmaking is hopefully headed, where it's like, it's not just about intimacy coordination. It's about the whole process being one of safety and empowerment, where people want to come to work. They want to give it their all because they know they're going to be taken care of.
Yeah. 100%.
I think I really want to talk about choreography, because I think that's maybe like a part of your job that maybe is fun and like it's like inventive and creative, but like I didn't realize how big of a part that was. And it was even so, like the first time I worked with a coordinator, she was like so involved and just like moving around and like, like just vibing, like, and I think that was kind of cool to realize that this person is also helping to set the tone, which is really interesting. But talk about choreography and talk about like how you approach a scene, and feel free to kind of like vaguely talk about the scene we worked on together, if that helps as like an example.
So I'm going to kind of walk through my process, and then we'll kind of get to the choreography section. So initially, when I get the call and we talk and I get hired on, I talk with the director about those scenes. I kind of get what they're thinking, their vision, if there's anything in particular they would really enjoy or want. If actors are like completely good to go, what's the biggest thing? What's the furthest you want to go with this scene? And just general feelings of it. And then I take those ideas to the actors one-on-one. We have a call. We just talk through general safety things, what to expect. And then I can get very specific boundaries. If anything's like a problem or they really don't want to do this, I can take that back to the director and be like, hey, this is off the table. Or we're a little bit worried about this. It might be something we have to adjust on the day of. But we can also talk about that in rehearsal. And then I talk with, the wardrobe department if we need barriers or anything like that. I also have a lot in my kit as well. But then like crew memo, making sure everybody knows what's happening. And then, once we're kind of in rehearsal, I usually, okay, now we're talking about choreography. I break down the script that's given to me. I look at it, and this is where I think my being an actor benefits, because I can analyze the script and see, I kind of consider where it happens in the story. What is the purpose of this scene? What are the dynamics between the characters? What have the characters experienced versus not experienced? I also ask the actors, like, how do you feel about this? Or like, is this something within story? Or if anything's not feeling right, let's talk about it. Because they know the characters better than I do. And so I take a lot of those ideas and I give multiple positions for things if I can. But then we kind of just go through the main pillars of it. So like, how do we get here? Where are arms going? Do you need a pillow under your back if you're on, in a weird space or on top of a car hood or wherever it might be? There's like a factor of like the physicality of how it happens. And, starting out, it was a little clunky, just like choreography is too. And I've learned to just also tell actors like, hey, it's going to feel weird usually the first couple times, and then it'll smooth itself out just like regular choreography does. And I think that gives me some peace about it anyway. They don't have to get it right away.
And they typically don't.
No. Yeah. How would you? You're going to work. You're maybe taking off your clothes and you're having an intimate scene with someone that you've never done stuff with, maybe with a bunch of people watching and timing. And like, it is not just this like thing that happens. No. It is very calculated. It's actually not very sexy at all.
Yeah. It's very planned out.
Yeah. It's very
like my hand's
detailed.
going to go here and we're going to fall like this and make sure we don't break our shoulders or whatever it is. And it's like, it's a dance. It really is.
And there's so much of story that we have lost by not bringing in someone specific for those scenes. Because if the scene's in there, it's an element of the story and you just rush by it, then the audience doesn't connect with it. And the actors are having to come up with ways to connect with it. And sometimes you're like, okay, great, that looked great, but like, we cannot see this motion, and this motion softens it and gives it another vibe. Or, I had it was awkward, but in the scene we worked on, I had someone put their hand up way further than what they thought, but it just barely made it to camera and did something. Like it sparked.
It really worked. Yeah.
So I was really happy with that scene.
Yeah. Me too. Especially because, we don't need to go into why we reshot it, but it was a scene that is much better the second time around. We'll just say that. And it had nothing to do with anybody involved in the first scene. It was just a different, I don't think we knew what it was really until like we shot it. And then everyone was like, that wasn't what we thought it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Especially the actors, especially the lead. He was like, it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And we were all like, it was kudos to the director for listening to him.
Yeah.
Like truly.
And willing to do a reshoot and spend money like that. I felt bad. I wish the other intimacy coordinator had been able to come out. It sucks when you aren't, nearby, but I'm very grateful that I got to, work on that project and connect with those people.
Yeah.
Lots of people I've been wanting to connect with too.
One thing that strikes me about the intimacy director coordinator position is that you have like these protocols that you use on set, and you let the crew know ahead of time, which is, I think, really great and really professional. But can you talk about like how you approach a scene and like the things you tell the crew and like these things are going to happen, and as soon as the scene's over, this is going to happen?
Yeah. Let's create just a general example. Let's say two actors are going to simulate sex on a bed on set. So I usually talk about with wardrobe, having the actors have robes. So with a closed set, that's something I talk about in the safety meeting at the beginning of the day. We operate with like the idea of whoever is necessary to be in the room is in the room. If you can step out, great. We might have somebody like a producer who like wants to be in the room as well. And I just run that by the actors. I'm like, here's a list of people. How are you feeling about that? Any concerns? And so hopefully those are the people in the room. So we get set up, those people leave the room, actors will derobe, they'll get into position, lights, camera, action, and then immediately when cut happens, they get their robes back, and then we clear it. So then people can come in again to adjust things, and then that's just kind of the way we operate. And then, next setup, everybody gets a break. Once, I've checked in and we've done the scene and everyone's feeling good, I also round back with actors, just ask them how they're feeling, anything like that, or any comments or anything that came up for them, just as like a closure practice. Yeah. And so that's usually, the end of my job, unless they call me for more. But yeah, you were talking about crew, and I think like there are actors out there who are so like, I'm totally body positive. Like I don't need a robe. Like I'm good. I'm not worried about it. It's like, that's great. I love the confidence. You have to have a robe on between takes, because not everyone else is consenting to seeing you in this way outside of the professional way we've discussed. So yeah, I think a lot of times I don't think crew knows how much they can come to us because, and this is what it is.
Good, I'm glad.
So you reacted when you were filming that because of your own reasons, because everybody has different experiences, different ways we grew up, different educations, different parents, different family dynamics. Like our whole lives are very, very specific. We cannot guarantee that everyone has had the same experience as us, and they don't. But that opens up a thing of like, sometimes people have reactions to things, and sometimes they don't realize it, or, in the moment, suddenly something happens and you need a minute to like get back to yourself. And I provide that time. Or if I'm noticing an actor is acting really off, I'm like, hey, I just need to, adjust something, and I'll go and check in with the actor. But there are just so many different experiences and so many little things that I think we have to be so generous and so open that some things you don't have a choice to react to. You just naturally react to it. Fight, flight, however you grew up, what those things are like drilled into you. So you can't always control that.
Yeah.
And the body does things. The body reacts whether your mind wants it to. Even in scenes of simulated sex, like, vascular reactions happen even if your brain is not there.
Yeah.
And I think that's also something I try to lean into is that as an actor, you're creating these emotions and experiences, and your body is experiencing it as real. Your brain is not. So you have to remind your body when you're done of like, that wasn't real. We create, and we can live in those emotions in that moment. That's great. That's, useful. It's a tool. But when we come back and we're done, we need to come back to ourselves, come back to what is real and what is not work. And that's something I've explored as an actor too, where I did a really, really tough scene in Jury of Her Peers that I did a lot of work on, but I spent too much time in it. And when I got done, I was having a really hard time releasing that and releasing those things in my body. And my normal closure practices weren't working. So I had to try something else. So a lot of it is like, there's different ways to regulate your system. I'm actually reading a book on the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's very, very detailed. So I'm very, very slowly working through it. But it is fascinating the way the body works. And the more I learn, the more I'm like, everything's connected.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had a conversation with a filmmaker a couple weeks ago, young kid, great filmmaker. And he talked about like how I was like, what do you want from your career? And he was just like, I just want to learn how to regulate my certain nervous system. And I was like, that's an amazing answer.
Right?
Because this is such like a high pressure environment that we do need that. And it's not only actors, I think it's everybody, but like I talk to Sid about that sometimes. Like, how do you go from this scene to then leaving that headspace? Because staying in that headspace can be really dangerous. And it's interesting to me that crew doesn't sometimes think about that, because we're being influenced by what we're filming, whether or not we want to admit it, and we're watching these things happen. Sometimes bad things happen, and it's like, we also need to like be aware. So all of these things, like you say, it's all connected. To me, it is all connected, because it's like, I'm learning things from what you're teaching, not only the cast. It sometimes might seem to people like it's cast centric, but it's not. Where you're teaching these people really to like take better care of themselves. Yes. And that's like what I think we should all be talking about in the film industry, is like, how can we take better care of ourselves? How can we take better care of each other? Because without being too soapboxy for too long, it's in an industry where people aren't taking care of each other or themselves. And we have a responsibility to do that. And I think that then shows me once again the importance of having this intimacy coordinator, because people are not good at doing that for themselves. And sometimes it's just someone coming to you and saying, are you okay? That you're like, am I okay? No, I'm not okay. I need water, or I need a snack, or I need a robe. Maybe I shouldn't be not wearing a robe. And honestly, to that point too, boundaries. The scene's over. Let's go back to being people and not filmmakers. And then I think that boundary is important. Yeah. And I do appreciate that, because it's, once again, body positive, sex positive. But do I want to be around someone nude all the time? No, I don't. And you're
at work.
Yeah, I'm at work.
I mean, you're having fun. Usually we do these things for fun, but it is work.
Yeah.
We're not actively going to seek what we're doing.
No.
We're just doing the scene.
Exactly. And I appreciate that, because it really does. It puts these like divisions, that between reality and fiction that I think are important to remember when we're doing this. Because if we get caught too much in the fiction, I think things can go away that can lead to not being good sometimes, or being detrimental to the person or to the experience. And for me, it's like all about ensuring that the experience is a positive one for everyone involved. That's how it should be. And
I agree.
Yeah. So it's like one of these things that I think crew needs to listen to the things like this, and they need to understand these jobs better. Because you're really there for them as much as you are for the actors. And I think that's something I'm learning talking to you. But what are some best practices that you've talked about a lot, but are there any that you haven't talked about, things that you bring to set that help you do your job the way that you want to do it, or that more importantly, help people understand why you're there and what you're trying to do?
I do like to provide, so I'm trained in mental health first aid, and I like to just say that. I'm not a mental health professional, but in the moment, if you're having a crisis, like that's also what I'm trained to do. So I'm available that way. I also do try to provide a list of mental health resources, whether that's just your basic hotline, or like I have one specific to like Des Moines area with some very detailed things, but just not knowing what everyone's experience is, even coming back to yourself might be tough because of what's happening in your personal life at home. And that's maybe not, like, that's a hard switch too. or you get a phone call on set, something's happening, and that's different, you know? There's just so many things. Life is just crazy. But when you have, I think communicating is the biggest piece of it.
Yeah, and that's what
are the main other one, I feel like. In smaller productions, I have taken on the role of modesty garments, so things actors wear. And so I have tape, and I have various kinds of tape, and usually barriers. So like something we use a lot is a yoga ball, or you know, something that gives like a bounce to it. Sometimes it's just like figuring out what's the most comfortable and sustainable for the actors too, of like, we were trying to get up on a desk one time. And I was like, this is not going to happen. Like there was just, I tried it myself. I don't know. It's like, I don't act out the things, but I'm like, is this physically feasible? Like, can I try this, crew? Like, and get on it? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, ooh.
Not happening.
That's gonna be real hard and not comfortable. But the director was totally fine with changing it. So I also just kind of read the vibe of the director too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I'm really good at, is like finding ways to connect with people. And there are some directors that like know exactly what they want, and so I don't choreograph. Like they want to do that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't have to do that. My job is to make sure everyone knows what's happening and that protocols are followed and the actors feel safe, and crew. And if that happens, then I've done my job. Even if the scene, in my opinion, is not good.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, how are you feeling about that? And the director's like, oh, I love it. I'm like, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. You take that.
Yeah.
I'd hate it, but that's fine.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure you know.
But there's like, there's a lack of needing control in moments like that. You're like, I don't need to be in control this moment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my job. And things have happened like post, had some pretty big issues that happened between actors like post filming. But that's not my job. You know, like I can help them, and I have taken the phone call and told them how to, you know, talk to SAG about that. But my job is really what's on set.
Yeah.
And so if what happens on set is safe, I can't control what happens outside of the film space.
Yeah.
You know, like I can make recommendations, but even that's just then my personal opinion. Or if we have more scenes coming up, then that might be something we talk about how to navigate.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's sometimes really tough for me, because I'm really passionate about this work. And if I feel like I can help, I'm usually like, yes, I will jump in. But I also have to remember my own boundaries
take care of
be able
yourself.
to, take care of myself, which is something I continuously work on.
Yeah. Should be everybody's sort of life goal to learn how to better take care of themselves. But I do think your perspective of acting first and then coming to this work has informed like a lot of how you operate, right? And can you talk about that perspective just a little bit more? Like, when you read the scene, are you imagining it from an actor's perspective first sometimes? Are you turning that brain off and going straight to the coordinator position? Or is there some like on and off switch of like thinking about it how they're going to be thinking about it, and then thinking about it from the intimacy coordinator position? I know that's kind of a hard, weird question, but are you like switching brains and being like, oh yeah, like if I was in this scene, how would I want to be talked to about it? You know, is there any of that?
I think in the training I've done,
it's like
I know what to ask, you know, adjust on the fly too. But I think in engaging with an actor, asking, really being open to like just hearing them, and then taking that and the director's vision and the script and then creating something. When I read the script, I'm like, yes, I see this. This is the way I imagine these characters. I don't dig into it as much actor-wise unless it's a script. I'm like, oh, I love this.
This is great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, but like I think about like, okay, this character has never kissed anyone before. are they hesitant? Are they like
Yeah.
rearing to go? Like, what is the power dynamic?
Yeah.
You know, we talk about power dynamics, speed, degree of touch, breath work is a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there are just so many layers that we can like add in to make it bloom and blossom. But script wise, oh, that's tough.
I think you answered it though. It's like
Did
you do, and it's
Yeah.
inevitable that you do. But I think your expertise like does inform your decisions as a coordinator too, because you're understanding like, I think you just understand what it's like to be in that position.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been in that position. I've been asked to just, okay, now just kiss.
Yeah,
You
just
know, and
kiss.
like, okay, how long,
Yeah.
what kind? Yeah, you know, there's just so many things your brain's like, I don't know what's happening. And then you get notes and you're like, I know I got no direction, you know? And just that feeling of like, kind of like I just have to do what I'm told and not rock the boat. And I have to get cast again because casting, like crew, there will always be crew positions.
Yeah.
But for casting, like they chose you.
Yes.
That's a different power dynamic in the room as well of like, they can fire you
Yeah.
and get somebody else.
Yes.
Like that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And so to have someone who's just there and just knowing like, oh, the biggest thing that stuck with me is yes cannot be yes if no is not an option. It doesn't mean anything. So I can say yes to something, but if I don't feel like I can say no, it's not truly a yes. And I feel like just the communication makes your scene partners feel great too, because you don't want to make the other person uncomfortable, and you want it to go well too. And sometimes people are like, you know, I've had a lot of male identifying people say like, hey, I'm really worried about messing up and I really want to make sure I'm respectful. And I'm just like very worried that I'm going to like say something or step over the boundary. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm here for you. And just having that like worry is great. Like you're thinking about these things.
Yeah.
But that's also why I'm there. I'm there to protect you and create choreography that also for theater is consistent over multiple performances, multiple times, that is repeatable, because then also the audience gets the same story every night because it's part of the story and not about one person versus another person versus director.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you, first of all, phenomenal answer. I love that. Like, if no is not an option, then no, yes isn't a real option either.
No,
like
it's
you
not
have to
a
have
true
both of
option.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love that. That's a really important sentiment to listen to and hear when it, in respect to life. Like, yeah, no is a full answer. That's a full sentence. But I think there's something really beautiful about what you said too, because it's like, I think talking about it from the male perspective too, like it's interesting that the squeamishness is for everybody. It's a human thing. It's not a gender thing.
No.
And so I think a lot of people probably think about female identifying people when it comes to intimacy coordinators.
Absolutely.
But we're also making movies about two males engaging in sexual activities. We're making, gender fluid,
Yeah.
And so I think just having that like that equity, the equity of this is for everybody, no matter what, is really important, because that makes it there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It's there to take care of everyone, not just like one group. And I think that's something that, to be honest, I don't know if there's any validity to this or not, but I've seen more pushback against this from males than from females.
Yes.
And I think that is ridiculous, and it's probably a power thing. It's probably because in most sexual scenarios in film, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to generalize here, but the men are the quote unquote powerful figure in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that they are like, there's a fear or something that power will be diminished. And really, like for me, if I was an actor, I wouldn't work on an intimate scene without a coordinator, because I would be so scared. And then I lose my power as an actor too. So it's like, to me, it's just a win-win, like win-win for everybody.
I think so too. I think like presenting it like that is also like, yeah, it's the money, but you know what? It might save you from a lawsuit down the road.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not there to like take over the directing job. Like, you know, you have the over eagle view of like what the story is, what should be happening. I'm just in there for the tiny details.
Yeah.
And to make your vision happen while everyone's safe.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a big thing because of the Me Too movement. We've spoken out, and just naturally, men have had the power. And we haven't had a lot of like non-binary LGBTQ women present in these leadership roles. So yeah, there is some sort of, I think, fear. Power is a big thing that all of us struggle with in some way. What I do hope, especially with this to happen, and I've talked about this on another podcast as well, but I hope that intimacy coordinators inspire people to write those scenes. I feel like, especially in Iowa, there's this like, you know, we're very much community, home, like very wholesome. But I don't feel like some directors feel like they can add that in because they are afraid of how it'll come across, or like, how do I do this? Or is it gratuitous? Like, where does it fit in the story? And I hope this inspires directors to be like, yeah, I'm going to write this scene and I know someone who can help me navigate it. Like, this is my vision. Help me make it happen.
I'm really glad you said that, because I actually wanted to ask you, like, what do you hope people will take from this, or what do you hope that this motivates people to do? So I'm really happy you said that, because it really does. It's just like another tool in the tool belt, you know, to help you tell a story, really. And we're humans. These things are real. Like, we go through these a lot of things like this in our lifetime. We connect with people physically, and it's part of the human experience, and we shouldn't be shy from telling those stories. And it really just empowers everyone to be able to tell that kind of story in a more effective and like real fashion.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Which to me is the whole point of being a filmmaker and a storyteller, is that the audience sees that and connects with that. And the more authentic it feels, the more they will connect.
What would you like those people that have doubts about this position to know? Like, the people that are like, I don't need this on my film set. What would you... Without a combative, because you're not a combative person, so I'm not worried about that.
I'm
but
not.
Like,
Even when I think I am, I'm not.
Like, how would you respond to someone like that? And not trying to sell them, like, you're not trying to get them to hire you, but like, why is this important to someone who doesn't see the importance of it?
Yeah. Say it's great that you have never experienced like feeling helpless or not feeling powerful in the room. That's amazing. There are other people that have, and that have been that way their entire life, who have been taught to be small, to say yes. And I think it's important to have an outside liaison who doesn't have casting power that the actor can go to and not worry if they're going to get fired for asking a question, saying no. And honestly, it's going to help. It's going to tell your story better. It's going to make your job easier. And I don't know, there might be like, I've heard many directors be like, actually, it was so much better when you came in because you had this thought and I loved it. Or I've worked with directors where we talk and I'm like, do you have any notes? And they're like, well, I want to hear yours first. So I say it. And the director's like, I was literally going to give the same note. I'm like, see, we're on the same vibe. I think, you know, power dynamics are something that is in our world and will never not be. But it's something we need to be aware of. And sometimes you can't, my therapist has said, you can't pull people through the window of self-awareness. And sometimes they don't want to. They want to be able to not have to think, and just do and say whatever they want. But when you're working on something with people, it's a collaboration. It's a group project. It's not a one-person project. And I just feel like if you have a happy crew and happy actors, like, you have a happy set, and like, you can solve problems and people will have a good time and people want to keep working with you, especially when they know that's important. Like actors are like, you're a safe person immediately. There are actors who have seen things happen at theaters and theaters not addressing it correctly. Those actors won't go there anymore. They won't act there anymore because they don't feel safe. Same thing with directors in film and certain people, like they're like, that was a really dangerous set. I won't work with those people. Or I just got told what to do and the director yelled at me the whole time. So like, yeah, I don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
But when you feel seen and you feel like a collaborator, that makes you want to come back.
That was Stephanie Schneider. I'm Bruce James Bales. That's a take.
That's a take.